Welcome back to What She Said, Buff fans. The Shrine Bowl is Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the NFL Network. Yesterday was the last day, Wednesday was the last day for practice. There was a light practice. The game will be on Thursday. But this is about my segment, Meanwhile, back in Boulder. So back in Colorado, I talked about yesterday how the team was hard at work, working with Coach Swayze for their training and conditioning, and he talked to them about how this is a familiar scene, that he gets a group of new players in front of him, and at one particular time, 19 first-round draft picks were developed. So understand this, Coach Swayze is the guy whose every word the team is hanging on. So today, Colorado had military-style training. Now remember, they had this last year, and everybody talked about how Travis didn't seem tired or tuckered out. Well, this year, that is Timmons, number 82, the wide receiver. He said it multiple times. I was built for this. He didn't look tuckered out, tired. He was just like the Energizer Bunny, just going and going and going. But you know what? I have to say I admire this team. The goal was to find out who the quitters were. Overall, it was to build accountability and make you into a good teammate. And the leader of the exercise for the military is none other than a 4-year player from the U. One of Coach Swayze's former players ascended in the military and came back to Colorado to actually put our guys through core-style training the Marine way. So let's talk about what I saw, what I observed, and what I think is getting ready to go down. First of all, I want to congratulate the team. The goal was to find out if they had any quitters. And as Coach Swayze's former student said, we're looking for quitters because if they quit on you doing these drills and exercises, they will most assuredly quit on you in a game. I was like, ooh, okay. Yeah, because last year, Coach Prime talked about how the brights were just too light for some and they tapped out. So you know what I'm thinking to myself? All right, let's do it. Let's see if we have any quitters. So anybody who decided to go over to the water cooler while they're in the middle of these exercises was deemed a quitter, and that they should take off their shirt, turn it inside out, and put it back on. So they identified the quitters. So let's talk about the exercises that got my attention. Of course, they had a few up downs that they had to do, which were individual, but most of the training, the rigorous training, was actually done in groups. So they had to split up into groups. Of course, they were already split up by offense and defense, gray t-shirts and the black t-shirts. But when it came time to working together, they had to work as a unit. So there was a log exercise where you take the log and you do crunches in groups of 3s with a tree on top of you, and you're doing crunches, but you have to do them in unison. And you have to have enough mind to count so you can know what it is you're doing. And you could hear one of the drill instructors essentially saying, what number are you on? And he was like, 14. She's like, are you sure? Do it again, start over. So not only do you have to work as a group, you have to exercise as a group, count as a group, be accountable to each other. If not, you got to start over. So the log exercise with the crunches was one, but then when they had to stand up and take this tree and move it from shoulder to shoulder as a team, and a single file line, imagine a single file line with 3 players. On this side, there's the log, and then they have to, in unison, do this. It seems like it's simple, but it's not. When they first started working together, they had to figure it out for themselves. They had to communicate, because I'm ready to move this log because it's heavy, but what about the guy in the middle and the back? So at first, they struggled with it. And then they told them, no, you got to work as a group. And then when they start working as a group, then you could see the log more smoothly, move. And that was the whole point of it. And then there was this one particular exercise where, okay, so you're standing here and somebody stands directly in front of you, and you put your arms around them and they drop and their feet are flat on them, and you have to drag them 20 yards. And then when you get 20 yards, then y'all alternate, and then they drag you. And this goes on and on and on. So you're dragging another person's body weight for 20 yards. Normally you see people at the gym pushing those big tires over like this. I'm like, wow, I never even thought about using another person's body weight, as equipment to work out with, but that's what happened. So again, you had to work in unison with one other person. During the logs, you had to work as a trio. And then they had this one exercise. This is where the female Marines were instructing them. And you had to get used to somebody yelling at you, especially a woman, because remember, they play football, so normally it's guys. So there were two female instructors telling them to pick up these objects that look like batteries. And they had to lift them over their heads. And of course, when they started doing it, they were doing it as individuals, but they were in a group of like 5. And she's like, no, you got to do it together. And she was yelling and screaming at them. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, they didn't flinch. And that's a good sign. That means you can learn from anybody. And out here in the real world, you might have a woman as your boss. So some people are not okay with that. So this sets them up to be accountable, to be a good teammate, to be coachable and taught by anyone. And then having someone who Coach Swayze coached for 4 years as an athlete come back and talk about how what he learned under Coach Swayze prepared him to be competitive, accountable, and a good teammate in the military. I mean, that's just putting words into actions and bringing back a testimony. So I loved it. But let me tell you the takeaways that I noticed from the players, okay? Now remember, we have new players and returning players. So what I've noticed, Jeremiah Brown, very vocal. He and Gustave were actually talking about who's the fastest. They have a good camaraderie, but when it comes in turns, so there's a lot more players more vocal this year. I felt like last year, it wasn't like that. Timmons, way more vocal this year than he was last year. Emerging as a leader, very comical, didn't know he had a sense of humor like that. Kaden Salter, natural leader. He was counting them. You know how they get ready at the end of getting the huddle, and he was giving out the message. We're gonna do this. This is how we're gonna win a championship. Yada yada yada. And then Draylon counted them out. 1, 2, 3. Family on 3. Like that. So Draylon, Kaden, Timmons. Draylon is truly emerging as a leader. Period. So you got Kaden, the leader of the team. You got Draylon, a leader of men. That's basically what he looks like, just a leader of men. You got Timmons, a wide receiver. Omarion was hurt, so he couldn't be out there. So it's like Timmons was the most vocal. I saw a comment that said, Gibson looked like, I don't know what I got myself into. I just want to play football. But hey, it is what it is. And I even asked myself, do other universities do stuff like this? Because Colorado did the Navy SEAL training last year where they went in the water and stuff like that. This year they have the military, the Marines. I don't guess next year might be the Air Force or the Navy. I don't know. But but the point is when you come to Colorado, you not just playing football. They gonna prepare you for life and physical fitness. And I was thinking to myself, I said, one of them is going to end up in the military after this. They're going to realize I could do this. Just like that guy that played at Miami under Coach Swayze was his strength and conditioning coach. And, he's in the military. So this was wonderful. You got to go watch the video. Well Off Media has one. Reach the People has more full length because Darius is actually in Boulder, whereas Bucky is in Dallas. Coach Prime just installed a new football field at his house. So Shador was working out. I thought I saw Cam Ward too. But in Boulder, the players that are emerging as leaders, one of the things I noticed when they had to work as a group, I noticed the running back group had serious chemistry. And guess who I saw today? Charlie Offerdahl. So he's back. Maybe he's doing his grad year. Or I don't know. Maybe he's a senior. I have to look it up. But Charlie was there. Agustave, Brandon Hood, and it was somebody else. So I saw them together. Now on the quarterbacks, the only person I thought I saw was Kaden. But remember, the camera's moving around. Antonio Branch Jr., I'm keeping my eye on him. Because he came in, he kind of slim. But you know what? He been in that weight room too. So he gonna look like Omarion next year. Omarion has mass now. He give him next year, by the time he leave and go to the league, y'all not gonna know who he is. I mean, he is just really like buffing up. And I like that Coach Mo called the day Buff Chaos. Buff Chaos. He said he got that from when he was at Bethune-Cookman. They started at 5:30 in the morning. Imagine having to get up at 5:30 in the morning. I don't know if they start practice that early whenever they have practice, but if not, that's early. That's dark. That's what I call dark 30. It's dark. It's dark outside. When I leave to go to the airport, sometimes it's 4:30, sometimes it's 5:30, and I posted on my page, I'm like, it's dark 30 out here. So they had to be there at 5:30, and they split into, like I said, offensive, defense, and then they had to split into groups to complete the exercises. Now, the one exercise that I really, really like, of course, they were dependent on each other as a team. So the guys had to build a bridge, lined up person next to person. And then they kind of had to use their body to make like a triangle. And then somebody had to crawl through it. So they made like not like a trench, but like a shelter over a trench. Imagine a trench and you want to cover the trench. So they use their bodies to cover it. And they use their frames to cover it. And then somebody had to crawl through. And that trench, that frame that they made was not just like 10 yards. The goal line was the finish point, and they didn't start at the 20-yard line. So imagine how many players you have on a team, and they all make a trench, and you cover over a trench, and you have to crawl through, shimmy through, because you're on your elbows. So it's almost like you're doing crunches, and they had them do crunches too. So they were doing some of everything today. But guess what? Nobody quit. Not one person went to the water cooler. Not one person quit. We got a squad, y'all. They learned to depend on each other today. They started out doing it individual with trying to complete a group exercise. They learned how to work together, to be accountable to each other, and not one person quit. You know what that tells me? We will not see a lack of effort. We will not see a lack of effort on the O-line. We won't see it just from Jordan's side. We won't see it from half the defensive line. We are going to see this team clicking on all cylinders. They're going to win. I'm telling you, they're going to win. And their leader right now, this is not about the physicality of the sport. This is not even, if it were to start today, if the season started today, the person that has positioned himself as the leader, that has emerged as the leader, that keeps saying we gonna win. He just said we're gonna get to the Big 12 championship. We're gonna win this Big 12 championship.
Can you think under pressure?
And I know
5:30 on this fine Wednesday.
But I'm telling you,
Gotta start. Buff Chaos, man. Buff Chaos.
Right,
a lot of people don't know. Started way back at Daytona Beach.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Great amount.
Doing well.
I always see around kind of Agustave. I don't recall him being nearly as vocal. Jeremiah Brown, Ben, Ben finessing. He gonna be the next Shiloh, driving Coach Prime crazy. I think, in fact, Ben actually said that on a different video. But he's back. But the vibe is different. The vibe is different. It's like a bunch of strangers coming together and play. And that's not the vibe that it had last year. And not that last year was bad, but see, things can get better time over time. And that's what's happening. The teams are getting better. They're getting bigger. They're going to be stronger. We got this. All right, so that's it.
Hey, it's just 20 good air
Please go watch the video. Colorado Bucks
39 climbers.
Following up to the Navy SEAL training they had last year. I think they're going to have next year. And y'all go check it out. I'm trying to familiarize myself with some of the players. Let me see. Antonio Brady, Jeremiah Brown, Agustave,
He said we already got team done. Who done?
The lineman, of course, you got to
What you mean, come on, Zay?
The big lineman. He's in with him. That was so funny. Nobody could drag him. A military guy. He was sweating it out. And I'm trying to think of anybody else's name that was new. Carter, there's a Carter. Of course, we got Brandon Hood. We got Colton Hood. I need to learn the O-line. I need to learn. Then we got DJ McKinney. I think I saw Preston Hodge. I know I saw Caleb. I think I saw Preston Hodge. Let's see who else. DJ McKinney. I don't know. I got to learn the D-line, the defensive line and the offensive line. I don't think I know them. I think because they mostly new. I don't know if Barnes came back. Who else? Johnson. I saw Johnson, Carter. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. I'm getting there. So the more I watch the content, you see the names on the back. Good idea, whoever thought to do that. The names on the back. Kaden Salter. I forgot about him. Who else? Oh, don't forget Ryan Staub. Him. Ponder. Who else? DJ McKinney. Oh, Carter. That was I forget his name, but y'all know who it is. Number 23. Carter Stoutmeyer. No, that wasn't him. That's somebody else last name Carter. He's new. And then yes, there's Carter Stoutmeyer. I can't say I've seen him. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Eventually I'm gonna be able to roll off all the names of the offense, the defense, and I'll be able to do it by unit. Oh, Gibson. And then the guy, I forgot his name, that came, he went, y'all remember he came from USC, and the other guy, I'm gonna have to learn their names. Thanks, I can't remember it. All right, so I got some homework to do. Carday Smith from USC. And then there's two more guys, Gibson, Carday Smith, and there's two other guys I need to learn their names. They did their announcements on Shannon Sharp show when they did the commitment to Colorado. All right, guys. So y'all need to learn the names too. So we're going to talk about it. We'll have a little pop quiz if that's what we got to do. But we're going to make sure we know this team's name. That way we cheering them on. Y'all got some jerseys to get. I still have my 21 Sanders from last year. I'm going to buy another one this year. I don't know who's going to be. I might just put the numbers in a hat and just pull one out and just see and just do it that way, you know, because all of these guys become our faves, you know, and I'm ready. This team, we got a squad, y'all. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching What She Said.